Well, we're so glad to be back on this Thursday, this awesome and wonderful Thursday, right here on Uplifting Buzz podcast with my co-host, Mr. Marcus Groves. We're so ready to get into this show, this episode for this week, on this Thursday. Got a lot of topics to talk about, and we are thankful for each of you joining in with us. This show is being presented by Buzz Report Media and Uplift Mobile. You can visit us on our websites at www.buzzreportnews.com, or you can visit Uplift Mobile at upliftmobile.org. We're going to get right on into our podcast tonight. We're a couple minutes behind, and we do apologize for the technical difficulties that we are having. We had, but we're going to get right on into our non-biased conversations right here on Uplifting Buzz, and we going to start off talking about some things that have happened over the last couple of days, and it has been really, really interesting. Some stories that have popped up on the radar that's very serious and deserves a clean, non-biased conversation. And we're going to get started. Mr. Marcus, how your day went yesterday since the last show that we talked?
Yeah, everything's been going pretty good. It's been interesting time here living in America in 2025, especially with everything that's going on. Racial tensions are high. Political divisions are ever so present. And I think that it's non-biased talk about these situations is definitely important. You know, I've been seeing on social media lately about everybody kind of pitching and putting their 2 cents in, and it's very interesting, you know, to see some of what people are talking about on both sides of the aisle, politically, and then also the different type of conversations people are having demographically. So I'm interested in, again, thankful for being on this podcast and looking to, talk about these issues.
All right, and we're going to get right into our show right after this.
It's now time to dive into non-biased and clean conversations with Uplifting Buzz Podcasts with your hosts, Gary Johnson and Marcus Grove. Why wait? Let's dive on in.
So, on yesterday, as I was driving around the city, the news broke that a conservative activist was shot out in Utah. That's right, Utah, at one of the universities out there in Utah. Matter of fact, it was Utah Valley University. And it was a young man rising up in the ranks of the Republican Party and the conservative movement, Mr. Charlie Kirk. I think he was 34 years old, married, 2 kids, the co-founder of Turning Point USA, was shot as he was speaking to a crowd there at the university. And then, after being transported to the hospital, he was, he died of his injuries on yesterday. Now we're going to dive in a little bit and talk about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. And we're going to talk about some other pressing issues that's happening in our community as well on this show today. But we want to get started about this assassination. It's a sad situation that we have to hear about and experience in 2025. That someone still picking up a gun and choose to use the gun to speak for them, instead of having a dialogue and a conversation like me and you, Mr. Marcus, and understanding, even though we don't agree or may not agree on everything, but have an understanding that we can talk to one another in peace, and as men or man and woman, or as adults, and then we can leave, knowing that we expressed our beliefs in a positive way that that we felt, whether that person agree with me or not, and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't have to be where we are, having to pick up a handgun or a rifle, using it to speak for us, taking the life of an individual because we don't like what they're saying or we don't agree with what they're saying. It shouldn't have to be that way.
No.
Again, we are sorry. That this happened. And for the record, let me say before we get further into this show and talking about this situation, this subject, here on the Uplifting Buzz podcast, we are having a non-biased conversation. We do not, and we are not, and never will promote any type of violence towards anyone. So we just want to make that disclaimer out there and get that known up front, because when we started talking and something be said, I don't want anyone thinking that Gary or Marcus is inciting violence or encouraging violence or in supporting of violence, because we're not. We are here to bring you facts and talk about the situation that's before us. But Mr. Marcus, a young man, 34 years old, just out doing what he do, having a conversation to those that showed up to his rally, expressing his viewpoints, his conservative viewpoints, and somebody just didn't like him. Somebody didn't like what he said, and they chose they chose to take him out, or to do something to him for that simple reason, because they just didn't like him or what he was saying.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, goodness. America is in turmoil right now and has been for a long time. This reminds me, although I was not physically living at that time, but it reminds me of 1965, when Malcolm X was gunned down in front of his family. I read reports that his family, Charlie Kirk's family, was in attendance. His wife, 2 young kids. My condolences are out to them and his parents. It reminds me of that. Although Malcolm X was 39 at the time, I actually seen where Charlie Kirk's birthday would be next month, and he was born in 93. So he would actually. He's 31. He'll be turning 32 on next month, and for a man at 31 years old to be gunned down like that, it really speaks volumes on how far we have not come in America. But it all goes back to the idea of who is the shooter. Right. The FBI profile that came out immediately after the shooter was white male. The same FBI profile for, assassination on Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, John F. Kennedy. These are the individuals, we talk about different types of gun violence. And the last words that was spoken by Charlie Kirk was about gang violence, and then boom, he was shot, right? And so it's interesting when we talk about the availability of rifles, long guns, individuals who can obtain them. Those are the individuals who usually or who are synonymous with the FBI profiles. It's not white female, black female, Asian female. It's not a black male, you know, and but at the same time, ironically, those are the same individuals who are so pro guns, right? And I just think that it's very unfortunate that we have to go down or continue to go down a road where people are continuously uh, assassinated, killed for their views, regardless of Charlie Kirk's views. You know, I personally didn't know of him prior to yesterday, but you know, reading on some of his views, listening to him speak, um, he garnered the attention of a people for a reason. You know, and I think that regardless of how well you took his views or you know your opinion on the views that he had, um, you know, those were his views, right? You know, and to get assassinated or killed like that, it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, and I
Right.
think you know for his party, for people like him, they took a hit yesterday.
Yes.
But at the time, I would love to say that I don't think that people are justified in speaking poorly about the person so soon after he's passed, and the trolling of individuals on social media has reached to a depth that is low, and it's very sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, it's a sad day. It's a sad day that we have to continue to talk about gun violence. I mean, it's happening everywhere, not just in one community. It's happening everywhere. But to go to a political rally, and this is what's behind the story, to go to a political rally where, you know, we have our differences and you know, and take the life of an individual speaking or sharing their beliefs to their crowd. That's sad. You know, I mean, that's like me and you go out to one of the community parks here and have a rally to, you know, share our views and have a conversation to those that show up and that follow us. And then someone out there sitting, waiting for us to start talking and or say something that they don't like, and you know, shoot us. I mean, is it safe now? The question is now: is it safe to even hold rallies? I mean, in the public, you know. But pro gun, I think, me personally, we need tougher gun laws. And I know people don't want to hear that, but it has to be at a time and at some point in this life that we're living, that we come to an understanding that, yes, everyone has their right to a gun. Okay? We can't take that right away. But at the same time, there should be standards and laws keeping these guns from people and individuals that don't deserve them. Because just like yesterday it was somebody else, tomorrow it may be something, you know, it could be you, me, or anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Not only yesterday that we had the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but we had another school shooting out in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, in Chicago, you had shootings in Chicago, on the streets of Chicago, on the streets of Memphis, on the streets of New Orleans. You know, it's happening everywhere. And we're trying to pinpoint this gun violence to a certain race or a certain community. That is not so. It's happening in all communities. And to pick up the gun, you know, at any point in time and use it for, you know, to take the lives of another individual, I mean, it's sad. It's really sad.
It is. It is.
I know everybody. I mean, we live in a two-party country, a Democratic Republican Party. Some say liberal, some say conservative. And we do also understand that the political climate that we are living in is really high.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of people on edge. A lot of people are not accepting it well. And if we don't tone down the political rhetoric that we're hearing or putting out there, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the political officials need to step back and, like I heard the governor say yesterday of Utah, look in the mirror. Take a look in the mirror. Take a look in the mirror. Step back. He didn't say this, direct quotes, but I'm just putting it in my word, my way, the words of my mouth is that take a step back, look in the mirror, and say at some point we need to cool it.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are not accepting everything the same. And, they can be mad at one individual and they know that you support that individual. They can't get to that individual. They're going to try to get to you.
Yes.
So, I'm sad that it happened to Kirk like that yesterday. Every person is entitled to their own beliefs, their own opinion. But to take the life of somebody because they speak their mind, their own beliefs, and their own opinion is very downgrading. It really is. And regardless of, some of the things that Charlie Kirk believed, what he said in the past about other individuals, it's just still not right to take the man's life because of his opinions and his beliefs. But I'm glad to see a unified front from both political parties on this matter, on this subject, coming out, in support of his family and, talking about gun violence. But the real issue, I think, behind this is that it's going to take the political official that's in office to come together and pass common sense gun control laws. Point blank and simple. Stop pointing the finger. It's only happening over there, very little over here. Some things that's happening over there don't happen over here. Some things that happen over here don't happen over there. Let's put it that way. So in order to come back it all together, let's just put a stop to it. Let's pass these laws to get these guns off the street and out the hands of criminals and those that don't deserve to have a gun, whether they're mentally ill or whatever the case may be. We just got to take them off the street. And if we don't, the only thing we're going to do is continue to talk about somebody being shot, mass shootings, and so forth.
Yeah. It's a lot that's happening. I think that you're spot on with what you're saying. It is the unified front as far as being empathetic over Charlie Kirk in America. You have the governor of Utah, of course, President Trump and J.D. Vance. A lot of people are in support of him, Charlie Kirk and his family. I was surprised to see, though, today that the European Parliament declined to allow for a moment of silence to remember Charlie Kirk. They were not in support of a moment of silence, which is very symbolic. And they did not allow for that. And I think that, in the coming days, weeks, months, years, we will start to really get a little bit more into not necessarily the shooting, but who Charlie Kirk was, the things that he said, and those things will live on. Um, the things that he brought about. And so, I think that a lot of condemnation will start to kind of come into full. Um, now people are empathetic, which I did see something where Charlie Kirk says that he didn't believe in the word empathy. Um, you know, um, but he is recently passed, and I think that when it comes down to what you said about gun control, uh, gun laws that are congruent for all different types of communities. I think in the day and age that we're at, we're so past the ability to create restrictions on gun control and gun laws in America. From a personal opinion, I feel like, and this is stemming from a book that I'm actually working on called "Without the Gun," uh, which is a conglomeration of um, some of the most heinous and famous um, gun deaths in the past 21st, 20th century, 19th century, 18th century. Um, and when looking at those gun deaths and I mean, just thinking about Columbine back in the 90s, I have to say from a personal standpoint, I do believe that the gun is the last resort to a people who are not going to take any type of mess and not going to allow themselves to be victimized by, in their eyes, a more aggressive race, a more, even some a more scarier race, whatever the case may be. Hand-to-hand combat is just something that they're not, people are just not going to take. And so, especially when concerning conservatives who pride themselves on having long guns, handguns, they took the Gatling gun to uh, um Japan when they were just samurais. The Gatling gun in the 1800s destroyed the samurai. If you watch the movie and some of the historical accounts on the Last Samurai, that killed the last individuals with the sword. So at the end of the day, the gun is the preferred weapon of a people who just would not win hand-to-hand combat in a massive front on the stage of the world. They rather not go that route. They rather just stand their ground. So I think that in a lot of ways, this is a hit towards the Conservative Party,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, even though Charlie Kirk did unfortunately pass away from the shot yesterday, this was really uh, an attempt to show the Conservative Party or Republican Party and even Donald Trump that, hey, we just don't agree with your rhetoric, because someone like Charlie Kirk has only been allowed to be on this stage like he is because of what Donald Trump has brought about since 2016.
Right. Right. And basically, I mean, he's been in support of that policies and promoting it as well. Um, and like you said, maybe next week or week after, we can get into some of the things that he may have said, um, good and bad. You know,
Mhm.
like today they've been talking about some of his comments and how he believed in prayer. I'm glad he believed in prayer. Because we all need prayer. Prayer is the answer and key to all things. And it's our connection to God. But we'll get into some of those moments of his life that that was very controversial, um, and the good. We don't want to talk about the bad, highlight the bad. We got to talk about the good as well. That's the good side to everybody as well. So on this show, we're gonna be fair. We're non-biased. So we're having a clean conversation about things that are happening, and unfortunately, this happened on yesterday, and among other things. I hate that we have to talk about it today, and also today is 9/11. We want to remember all of those that was lost their lives in New York, in the Twin Towers, Washington D.C., the Pentagon, and in Virginia on this day 24 years ago. It was a sad day. I can remember on that day as well. I was driving in my car on 65 passing the dealership, and I was passing that big American flag that sits on Interstate 65 there. And when the breaking news came across the radio about 2 planes had crashed into the Twin Towers in New York. And man, I'm telling you, I had got chills all over my body just to hear that. And I was like, man, the old tall buildings, how are these people going to get out of there? And so many have lost their lives. Some got out, some lost their lives. But we want to remember those and thank those that had the courage to stand up for the country and fight for us and be there day in and day and night through all of that rubble, the sickness that they endured, and those that are no longer with us. Where were you on that day, Mr. Marcus?
I was at Dunbar Creative and Performing Arts School down on St. Anthony Street, downtown Mobile, in 8th grade. In Miss Brooks' class, she taught English there, so that's where I was in 8th grade. Shocked as ever. I remember getting the newspaper clippings from the Mobile Press Register, and I still have them today. I actually looked at them a couple of days ago from the Twin Towers. It was the very next day that I got those newspaper clippings, but I still have them. And it was definitely a sad day here in America. That's actually what prompted my ideas and desires to join the military. I actually joined the Marine Corps. And for me, I spent about 7 years in there, and it was definitely. I tell people, especially people that are younger millennials, even though I'm a millennial, people in generation Z and Alpha, I tell them that 9/11 changed the world. 9/11 changed the world. Prior to 9/11, I don't even think many people had cell phones, It really changed the world. And I wouldn't say for the better. We got more global. We became, a lot of laws took place since then. You can pretty much find anybody in America online these days. A lot of things changed, and I really think that the United States-born terrorists began to really sprout up Of course, you had others that came before 9/11, but I think the American terrorists really started sprouting up at that time.
Yes. And today we remember those that have lost their lives on 9/11 right here on Uplifting Buzz Podcast. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back, and we'll dive into some more clean conversation right here on Uplifting Buzz. My co-host, Mr. Marcus Grove. right, Mr. Marcus. Other things that's happening locally, right here in Mobile, with our elections, District 2, the mayoral race. I know we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday about the importance of voting, and we talked about the strange billboard that went up in 5 Points there on St. Stephen's and Spring Hill, and the owner he finally came out and explained about this sign on yesterday or today maybe. Glad to know that's behind us. But man, this politics is, I'm telling you, it's getting interesting by the day, on a national scale and a local scale.
Yeah.
Bring us up to date. What's going on?
Well, so we have of course, in District 2, we have the lawsuit that we already know about. The $25,000 bond has been paid by William Carroll as of today, Thursday, September 11th, almost 7 days in, or has been 7 days in. Samantha Ingram has yet to be duly served. We did check earlier; she has yet to be duly served. Which is pretty interesting. Usually process servers are on it. Not saying that they're not, but if they are on it, why can't she be served? Which we all know is a strategic move. Is no downplay, or shouldn't be downplayed on her part, because obviously being served kicks off the whole lawsuit. Anyway, I did not see or know about the Pritchard raise, but I did know that by Tuesday, this past Tuesday, $10,000 bond had to be paid to secure that mayor's race contestant. So it's a lot that's going on. I mean, you have, like you mentioned, a lot of other places that are being contested as far as mayor and city council races. I think that it's something that we should, definitely talk about on a non-biased front.
Yeah, even down in Gulf Shores, I think they sell about 300 ballots, provisional ballots, maybe something like that. But I know it's a large number of ballots down. Yeah, matter of fact, they're counting them by hand down in Gulf Shores for one of the city council races. And over in Pritchard, man, I don't know why the city council president, Stephanie Johnson Norwood, did not proceed with her lawsuit on Friday once she found out about those uncounted provisional ballots, when she learned that Martin was going to file one, but he didn't get a chance to get downtown to file it in time to meet the deadline. She should have left hers in place. I don't understand that one. They could have went in together. You got one down there in time, and some of the stuff that's happening, man, I just don't understand it. I really don't. I don't know the motive behind the move that they're taking. I don't know. I know one of the former mayor candidates, he obviously had a challenge in there, Mr. Anthony Clark Banks, and I'm just lost, man. Some of this stuff in District 2, Mobile, William Carroll. Can you tell me what would be the benefit of getting Samantha Ingram kicked off the ballot, disqualified, and allowing another election to take place? People have already voted you out of office. What benefit would Carroll stand from this if Judge Brandy Henrick,
yes,
order a new election and disqualify Samantha Ingram from the race?
Oh, wow. Well, if she's duly served, which, like I said, has to happen before anything gets kicked off. Um, I know Lane Yap did put out something earlier this week about that. And I mean, in my opinion, if it did come down to Samantha Ingram getting kicked off, there is a percentage of people that it will be an eye opener too, and they will, uh, kind of change allegiances. But by and large, Samantha Ingram has done her work as far as campaigning wise. And I do believe that she will keep and continue to keep the supporters that she has garnered over this course of time. People have gotten to know her. People have gotten to understand that, hey, there is a little bit more out there than what the current administration or status has been. And quite frankly, I'm hearing from so many different people that they're, tired of the current, District 2 city councilman. So let's just say if she did get kicked off, there was an order by the judge to create a new election. First and foremost, that's just gonna, it's gonna be another issue of low voter turnout.
Right,
Reggie
because
Hill.
people they're not gonna be interested to come back out to vote. I mean, especially for the candidates that get back in there that they already voted on. They won't be excited to come back out. I don't see a high voter turnout either.
Yeah, it is going to be lower than the one that we had in August.
But do that benefit Carroll anyway? If he get back in there, do that benefit him?
Well, I mean, at that point in time, what's going to happen, in my belief, is somebody else, potentially other than Reggie Hill, will come out to jump on the ballot, and just because of the support that Samantha Ingram has garnered, and obviously Reggie Hill filed the first lawsuit with William Carroll filing the second against her. People may throw their support just to anybody other than those two. And let's just say if it can be anybody that gets on there. If Samantha Ingram just through social media say, hey, I support this person, then her constituents or her potential or her supporters would possibly vote for the other. But then again, we have to understand that William Carroll did receive a good amount of votes as well. So in the potential that he is voted back in, I mean, I would think that may be a long shot, but it is possible. What it would be is another 4 years of anguish from a lot of people, and it would be something to talk about at the dinner table for months to come.
Why is it so hard to serve Samantha Ingram if she lives in the district? She have an address. Why is it so hard to serve her?
Well, I don't believe, like we talked about last time, that she actually went back to Georgia, but she has.
I hope not. I hope not.
She has that prerogative, to travel. She's not under any type of house arrest or police order to stay in the city limits. And, one of the properties listed on the lawsuit in Noonan, Georgia, is really just a 4-hour drive away. So if she did want to vacation and go back home to check on, just her status and her bills and
family.
Her family, she has that prerogative. But at the same time, if she actually is here and she just hasn't been served, then she's enjoying, the 4 corners of her house. I think, it's no stress on her back, really. At the end of the day, these type of cases and just cases in general, if that individual is not served or served, they can be served in the next 30, 45 days. Let's just say if she's not served and the time runs out. Jay Ross and William Carroll's attorney team, they can go in and ask the judge for another 30 days. Or she can just, grant that 30 days or dismiss it, based upon that. And they have to refile again. So, but then, of course, we have the certifying of the city council officials and the mayor race. What is it, November?
Yeah, they sworn in November 3rd.
Right. So if she's already clearly won, regardless of the runoff for the mayor's race, she could potentially, let's just say the lawsuit went out last Friday, which was, I think the 5th, the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say 30 days from this last Friday would be October the 7th. I mean, she can wait out her time, but if it would truly happen like that, I mean, she has to leave the house eventually, and if they're serious about serving her, they will be knocking on the door until 9 p.m. The only thing is, as far as being a process server, that would be kind of unethical or written in those unwritten laws to not do, is trying to serve papers on a Sunday. Now, I've seen where process servers would knock on the doors even to 9 p.m. During the week and even on Saturdays. So it's possible to get her served.
So I'm just I'm just, if she lives in District 2 and she can't be served, where can she be? If she lives in District 2, a resident of Alabama, I'm hoping that you're not going to stay in Georgia for several days and weeks, and you're a resident of Mobile, Alabama, and running for political office, won, and you can't be served. That would that look good?
Well, it wouldn't look good. It wouldn't look good at all. But to my knowledge, she does have a few different homes in Georgia, but also she has a few different homes in Mobile. So, even though she does have a house in District 2, or she can maybe move around to different homes in Mobile. That is quite a possibility, without committing any laws, or without committing any type of crimes. She would be justified to be able to move about if she desires. I wouldn't say that she should be in Georgia at all,
Right.
but she does have multiple houses in Mobile County that she can move about to. Now, staying at her address in District 2, I mean, all you have to do is turn up the TV when the process server knocks on the door. But it's interesting. It's interesting, and it will be interesting to see when, in fact, she gets served, if that will happen, because sometimes it just don't happen.
You're right.
And with the fact that the bond has already been paid by William Carroll, $25,000, what will happen with that bond is the question. If, she's not served, if she goes to be certified on November 3rd, what happens to that bond?
I'm not a legal expert, I didn't go to school for law.
Mm.
I did 10 a year for paralegal. But what happens? I mean, can the judge force her to come to court without being served? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking. I mean, because this is a serious matter.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, the thing is that judges have a long leeway of powers that they can demonstrate. Now, precedent will hold true, and usually judges love to act on precedent. And has this happened before? Do judges get into that type of thing? And without being served, and because being duly served means that the case can proceed. Being duly served means a lot of different things. And without being duly served, the judges have a standoff type of attitude towards acting within a case. Now if she's duly served and some things happen, then yeah, the judge will be inclined, and precedent will hold true. But in a case like this, it's almost as if the judge would get off the bench and go to the house and knock on the door, which we know that wouldn't happen at all, right? If that person hasn't been served, or in general, even if the person has been served. And so if that's the case, without being served, I don't think that the judge will act upon even some of the most even some of those powers those hidden powers that they do have. This is a serious matter. But I think that the sentiment behind it allows for people just to not really, I mean, people care, don't get me wrong. I just think the sentiment behind it. Now, if the roles were switched, if the roles were switched, I think that people, would be caring a lot more if, Samantha Ingram had, and William Carroll had a switch type of role. But I think the sentiment really plays a lot too. And with that being said, I don't think that the judge will act upon forcing Samantha Ingram out of her house to appear in court whatsoever. Not prior to being served. No.
so there's no possibility that the judge will rule on this case, with even if she is not served, the judge still cannot enter a judgment on either one of those behalf without being served. That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a legal expert either, but when it comes down to having jurisdiction over a case, the judge don't even have jurisdiction over the case until both parties are acknowledged that they've been, or both parties have been served, or the parties have been served. Okay, the judge doesn't even have jurisdiction yet when the parties have not been served, and that is a long-standing issue, right? So let's just say if she was served and just didn't show up, then yeah, the judge can act upon, demonstrate their powers. But without being duly served, it's almost, it's not even on their docket yet to do anything with, right? I mean, they can do administrative tasks such as set a bond that William Carroll had to pay. But other than that, even hearing William Carroll's attorneys on issues would be ex parte, which is totally not something that should be done without the presence of the other party. So if Samantha Ingram has not been served, it's almost as if it's just a waiting game for the judge, the city, and William Carroll as well.
You're right, and we all sitting back waiting to see the developments in this case. So many here in Mobile. I just ready to get it over with so we can know whom is going to represent who on the Mobile City Council. And I also believe in respect that, if I lost, I lost. Now if it was something much more serious, I understand. But I just hope that Samantha got her business in order. And if not, Carol, he proceeds with his case. And then a new election to be held. But it remains to be seen what's going to take place in this election.
Mm-hmm.
What else on your mind?
I think that District 2 issue is the main portion of what I've been following lately. But we also have a few things in Mobile, the Mobile County, that we have been seeing. I think that I think Mayor Stimson is still trying to be mayor, even though, he's enacting some laws, trying to get some things passed last minute, which is kind of controversial. Even William Carroll has spoken up about some regulations downtown that Mayor Stimson is trying to enact, which William Carroll is calling some of it against the equal protections under the law. And then now the city attorneys are kind of saying, no, that's not correct. But basically, Mayor Stimson is trying to force businesses to put up cameras, alarms on buildings, and I guess make ready for downtown to be more security enforced. I think that's something last minute that Mayor Stimson is trying to pass, which is interesting. It's very interesting. William Carroll's stint on it is saying, hey, this is an issue all around the city of Mobile. Why are you not passing these things all around the city of Mobile? But Mayor Stimson is focused on the downtown Henry Aaron Loop area. So it's interesting. Things are,
and we kind of know why. A lot of people don't know why, but we kind of know why he's primarily focused on those areas in downtown, because there's an investment that's in some properties down there. And his name not directly tied to it, so we can't say it's his, but we know whose name is, who's behind it. And a lot of some people, not saying a lot, I'm not trying to be like Donald Trump, just saying a lot of people, but there are some people, a few people that believe that he's trying to enact these legislation, these ordinances in the city before he exits office to protect the interests of those properties and the value of those properties, so the value won't decrease, it can only increase. And that is something we're going to talk about next week. I think that's deserving to be talked about. And as we he continued to push Spiro into office. And we're going. They have a debate coming up Monday night, I think it is, on one of the local TV stations here in the city. And so Tuesday, we're going to dive in to talk about that debate. And then on Thursday, we want to talk about these new ordinances that he's trying to push through the city council to get them to pass it to become law. Also, like the public transit system here, Mobile Wave Transit. VIA came in and bought some vans that they will serve a small area, for free downtown. And now all of a sudden, he want to hand them over the whole entire transit system here in the city.
Wow.
How did they earn that in such a short period of time? Doesn't smell good.
$1 million contract.
multi-million dollar contract. You know, and other municipalities like Pritchard, I think, invest into this service as well. We don't know the changes. They're saying they're going to keep all the employees, but you know they're going to make it as one of the ride share type services. I don't know how would you make a city bus ride share type. I'm not sold on that just yet. But it remains to be seen. There's not been a lot of information being put out about it. There have not been no public forums on it to get the public and citizens' input. You know, the city council is talking about it, but what about the people? I'm not agreeing with that.
Yeah, and another thing, I think that, you know, there's other cities in Mobile, other cities in Alabama, like the city of Tuscaloosa, who has done a fabulous job in implementing a bus transit system. Of course, you know, the University of Alabama also has a transit system. And, you know, along with not getting input from the citizenry in Mobile, they're also not getting evidence of other cities who have done well in implementing, you know, a citywide bus system. You know, Tuscaloosa is smaller than Mobile. However, they still get it right when it comes down to it. And I think the city council and the next mayor, of course, needs to take that city bus system very seriously.
I just believe they need better planning with this transit system here in the city of Mobile, and I hope that the citizens and our most vulnerable citizens here that rely on public transportation to get to wherever they may need to go, that it don't affect their daily lives and their transportation. But this has been another great show, man. As we, you know, talk about the things that's happening in our community, especially on a national level and on a local level, that we can have a clean dialogue and not be biased in our conversation. We want to keep the public and our listeners informed about the things that are happening in and around our communities. Until next week, man, I enjoyed this week. I think we have brought some light to some very important topics on this week, and the show is only going to get better. I'm enjoying it so far, man. I think we have made a positive gain in the short period of time that we have been podcast as partners, and I'm excited about where we're going to take this show. It's only going to get better. That's all I can say. It's only going to get better. Do you have any last words that you want to say before we get out of here? All right, this has been another episode of Uplifting Buzz Podcast, and we thank you for joining. Also, along to our website at www.upliftingbuzzpodcast.com. You can find us on all podcast and streaming apps at Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and so much more. Until next time, join us on Tuesday for a new episode, and we are grateful that you would join us on Uplifting Buzz Podcast.
You've been listening to another episode of Uplifting Buzz Podcast with Gary Johnson and Marcus Grove, where we bring you non-biased conversations that focus on all things happening yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Visit our website and share your thoughts and stay informed. Until next time, be blessed.
Y'all got y'all shoes on?